Get the Friendo Club set up today and get access to over 700 Going In Raw bonus episodes, our monthly Big Blue predictions challenges, and the ability to ask questions at Going In Raw. We also offer the Steven Larson comic book and exclusive Friendo Club t-shirt. Just hit join here at youtube.com/Steven Larson or go to patreon.com/Steven Larson to sign up. Hey, Friendo, Steve here.
Hey, Larson.
And welcome back to Going In Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast. Oh, whoa, sorry. You know, man, sometimes it's muscle memory. Steven Larson's pro wrestling podcast. Ruining pro wrestling since 2014, ever since I became the new predictions champion, Larson. My goodness, I've been so distracted. I think that's why I messed up the intro just now. I've had so many sponsorship deals coming my way. This predictions challenge is a big deal. It can net you some really serious coin.
Wow, I missed out on those opportunities. How come my phone wasn't ringing off the hook?
You know, you got to put yourself out there a little bit, and
do that.
I hired a PR firm to the tune of much money.
That's not coming out of our collective.
Well, I mean, yeah, kind of, because we're like an entity. So,
but I'm not benefiting from it. So why?
Right. There's some, that's to be discussed off camera. Today's episode, of course, we're going to be talking about WWE Raw from this week on the road to Money in the Bank. This is all in advance of the coronation of Steve here as a predictions champion on Friday. Larson will put this on
the A story of not just Steven Larson Pro Wrestling Podcast, but all of wrestling.
Yeah, pretty much. We were just talking in the pre-show about WWE counter programming, pulling a WWF Jim Crockett situation. The only counter program around here that matters a damn is the coronation. Nobody better program against the coronation than Steve here, Larson.
Well, if that's what we're doing, we got to run it opposite SmackDown then.
Oh no. Okay, bluff called. Oh, anyways, no, we're not going to talk about me. We're going to talk about WWE Raw, of course, because we've got more entrants now in the Money in the Bank match after last night. Seth Rollins, Larson, is this just going to be him? Is it just going to be Seth Rollins? We got him, we got LA Knight, we got Penta, and we got
Solo
Sikoa. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We'll talk about the other matches that are going to be for the qualifiers in a second here.
Yeah, because we got Jacob, Mello, and Andrade happening on SmackDown. And
that's going to be a good one.
Another one next Monday on Raw, potentially with CM Punk in it.
You would think that might be the case, yeah. So, given all that, who's going to win this thing?
Based on the names either already in the match or announced for it's Seth. You got to think it's Seth. Who else?
Okay, so we got Seth, LA Knight, Penta, and then Solo,
and probably, I don't know, it's either Mello or Jacob Fatu.
Mello, Jacob. So if it's Jacob, him and Solo kind of cancel each other out, don't they?
You'd think so, yeah.
If it is Punk, do him and Seth cancel each other out?
Not necessarily, because this ladder match, Braun and Bronson could get involved to help Seth.
Okay. All right. That's actually a really good point. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we have the one last one on Raw, which, Sammy. You get Sammy in there.
No, Sammy was in the match last night.
Oh, dude. Yeah, he was in the match last night. Him and Finn, who, bizarre that he's not making it in there.
No, I don't think it's bizarre at all. In fact, he ate the pin. Neither of which are surprising.
That good guy, he got stomped on a chair.
Yeah.
Hey, strong protected loss for Finn Balor getting stomped on a chair.
Loss nonetheless, Steve.
Hell. Glass half full. Yeah, that push is coming. I'm trying to find an argument against Seth. Seth laid out his plan last night. You got the June 9th match with Gunther and Jey Uso. I understand the idea that go for a younger person, but we've seen how they book younger people. Like Tiffany made a lot of sense, but there's kind of a youth movement right now with the women that's actually pretty successful. The men, it's a bunch of old dudes that ain't giving up their spot anytime soon. As much as I would love it to be Penta, I don't know if I see that.
Yeah.
Solo would be hilarious given his current character, but there's no way they're going to do that.
No. No.
Jacob, I mean, look, out of all the potential names that we have now, if we're going to go like younger or somebody who hasn't won the world title, Jacob's the guy. Jacob, within a year, easily, oh my God, easily could be in the Rollins position from 2014, right?
Yeah. But if this was Money in the Bank 2026, I'd say his odds are much better. He just won that U.S. title. Not to say you can't have the U.S. championship and the briefcase. I don't think it's happened before where anybody who had the mid-card title also was Money in the Bank briefcase holder. But since he is, assuming he makes it to the ladder match, since he is already a champion, I would think, Pontius says Miz. Was Miz Intercontinental Champion when he won the Money in the Bank? Or is Pontius just saying Miz should be in the ladder match?
Maybe he's just saying Miz. He's just
Miz gave up his
for
spot
Miz.
potentially, so Melo could have the qualifier.
Yeah.
Anyways, so I wouldn't. I don't see anybody from SmackDown winning it, honestly.
Oh, so Miz had the U.S. title.
All right,
Money in the Bank. Okay.
Thank you for Forgotten Media. That's what I wasn't watching. I don't see anybody from SmackDown winning it. Honestly, because I feel like what they're doing with Cena is mapped out and it's not going to involve the Money in the Bank cash-in, except if Drew McIntyre were to be in it. That might change my thought process, but he's not going to be in it because the SmackDown qualifier on Friday is the last qualifier from SmackDown. There's going to be one more qualifier on Raw.
Yeah.
So unless somebody is in it like Punk or Roman or another main event level name like Seth has to be the obvious winner.
That's why
it plays in the story they're telling with him. It's like almost too obvious.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. That's why I don't like it.
I know, me too.
But I would put money on it.
I would
totally put money on it. The women's, I don't know. When Rhea won, I was like, oh, it might be Rhea, but maybe not. I kind of feel like her story right now is like, how the hell do I get back on top? And maybe that includes a heel. But that would be such a stupid move for her to do a cash-in.
Opportunistic cash-in.
An opportunistic cash-in. That'd be so dumb.
Yeah.
Given that they're making Seth like the guy on Raw, the big bad, who makes a lot of good points. And he's got his stepped up J&J security now. Mm-hmm. With Braun injury specialist. Yeah, I mean, it feels like if they're going to use Money in the Bank as a big storytelling device, which, I mean, they kind of just used it for Drew McIntyre's story last year in a very quick fashion. It was just boom, done. If they want a more involved Money in the Bank scenario now, and if they want to turn Gunther face, which they might do against Seth, let's say Seth cashes in. Let's say Jay and Gunther have just a killer match on the 9th. It's just a drag out, really good thing. And Jay does the thing where he earns Gunther's respect.
Mm-hmm.
And they're all beat up. Seth comes running out, maybe after Gunther makes his leave, but it's the kind of thing where Seth and him cross paths, and Gunther's like, "Nah, I'm not into that. That sort of violates the sacred mat." And then he stops Seth from cashing in, and maybe they get a feud out of it.
I mean, that's the second part of this, I think, is Seth wins the briefcase. June 9th is the day where something is going to happen regarding that briefcase, whether a successful cash-in or not. Now, if Seth wins, there is potentially a line of people who would be eager to stymie his cash-in.
Mm-hmm, sure.
At the front of that line would be CM Punk. Probably right behind Punk is Sami Zayn.
Sami Zayn, yeah.
And I could go on and on with probably Roman Reigns would be in that line as well. You could go on and on about the people who would be motivated to try to stop Seth from cashing in. So it could be a situation where in the middle, I feel like if Seth is going to try to cash in, it's not going to be after Jay versus Gunther is over. I think it's going to be while the match is happening.
Oh, make it a triple threat?
Yeah. And you could have this wildly overbooked finish where you have Punk come out. All right, Braun and Bronson, they beat him up. All right, Sammy's out next. Same thing. Maybe Roman returns.
Mm-hmm.
And it gets to the point where the numbers are too much for Seth and his group to necessarily handle. It's just a wild, chaotic scene. And at that point, it's anybody's ball game,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right, yeah. And
maybe they would do something like that. I don't know. Yeah. But at this point, I don't see anybody other than Seth winning.
The only other one that makes any sense to me is Jacob. And obviously we don't know who's going to be in the last qualifier. If it's Drew McIntyre, I think that would actually make a lot of sense too. But apparently he's going to be off TV for a while, which makes sense because he's got concerto, you know.
Well, then he had that nasty spot where he banged his head on the floor.
If they want to do the thing where they put it on a guy and push, you know, it's like not give him a push, you know, just wait on it. Then to me it's Jacob. But because it's like, how do you look at that guy and not see that a year from now he can be? Because there's you talk about the Cena thing, and you're right, but that's only going to last till January.
Yeah.
So you still have 6 months after that.
Yeah.
Where you can still cash in.
Well, it's between the Cena stuff being booked out and them making a point of booking that title match the night or the Raw after Money in the Bank.
Yeah, I agree with that
those
too.
Those two things in combination, it seems like, it's going to be someone from Raw, and there's going to be a cash-in attempt.
Yeah, in which case you're right. In which case Seth makes all the sense in the world. It would be nice if they just, I don't know, didn't do that necessarily, though. But you're right. Like the June 9th date, we've been saying, there's going to be a cash-in attempt. Something's going to happen there. Whether it's Logan Paul, who's now not even going to be in it because he's going to be in the main event of Money in the Bank.
Yeah.
So that's good. But yeah, Seth makes all the sense in the world. You know, if you're going to try to go big with everything right now, you put it on a guy who's right now, not a guy who's maybe the tomorrow, you know? So I kind of feel that.
I'm looking at the roster here on Raw, trying to think who might be in the last qualifying match. So obviously there's Punk. There's Sheamus. There's Rusev.
You got Cross.
Yeah.
He gets good pops.
I don't think he's going to be involved in that. Honestly.
He's got pops.
Dom maybe in a qualifier. Or unless they'd have, AJ. I guess AJ could be a qualifier too. Unless Seth's like, all right, I need my dudes, or one of my dudes in this match to watch my back. So either Braun or Bronson, you get a qualifier. You know. Yeah,
that could be as well. I don't know about Sheamus and Rusev. You know, they had their thing, which could mean they're in the qualifier together with a third name, with a CM Punk or something like that. But I kind of feel like they're on Rusev Island right now.
Yeah, it does seem that way. Yeah.
So I don't know. Anyways, like we said, of course, dude, this Friday, the Coronation. Steve here, new predictions champion. Larson's going to physically put the shirt on me and the hat on me. And that's all in advance of the June predictions challenge. And of course, the biggest question we've ever had in predictions history, who's going to dethrone Steve? This is the new story that we got going on here, man.
Well, I guess the previous top question is, will Steve ever win? That's been answered. To the affirmative.
Oh, by the way, and I plan to address this in my lengthy coronation speech. I'm talking lengthy. We're talking William Henry Harrison lengthy. In the bitter cold, of course, went on to have a wonderful presidency back in the day. It's going to be a very lengthy speech. I've seen a really disappointing number of, and I'm going to call every single one out.
Well, it'd be like Jordan's Hall of Fame induction speech, huh?
Well, people saying that I cheated at predictions.
Okay.
Cody
I'm going to put this to rest.
Cody had to go on there to try to put it to rest.
So there's no cheating involved in Steve's win. All right? I know this for a fact. And if there's anybody who'd be motivated to call out Steve for cheating, it'd be me. Because I don't like seeing him succeed.
Unless, well, I'm glad that you actually spoke the truth there. Unless you were in on it.
Why would I be in on it? I want to be the only one that's predictions champion.
Why would I bring that up even?
Yeah. There's no cheating. See, but this is what happens when you have a history of lying to the people, Steve.
May I ask you, when's the last time I lied to the people, Larson?
Oh, I mean, if I really thought about it, probably something within the last 6 months. Let's just put that narrative to rest. Yeah. No cheating.
Yeah, dude, honestly, like, this is, I was as shocked as anybody when I ended up winning this thing. I was like, this is like one of our biggest groups too, 385 people. My goodness gracious. So yeah, there was no shenanigans. Here's the thing. This is the thing, and this is dropping the clown facade for a second. We do take this shit very seriously.
We do.
And the entire time when Larson was talking me up saying, I believe in you, I was legitimately saying, shut up, because I don't want to turn this into a story, because it's never going to be finished, because I simply don't stand a chance, because I never really have.
All right. So Die Hard Homer has a list of things you've tried to pull.
Okay. Let's hear it.
Purple iPhone.
That was 2 years ago.
The 300 bowling game.
Maybe that was almost 3 years ago was the purple iPhone.
The fact that you bowled 300, or the quote-unquote fact you bowled 300.
Well, let me put it this way, because I still maintain that I did. However, that claim was like 5 years ago, 6 years ago.
But it's one that's been brought up from time to time.
Sure.
Stealing Big Red.
That was like 10 years ago.
It wasn't even that long. No, it was maybe 5.
It was 2018.
All right, so 7 years ago. And then Die Hard over here says predictions, but I can speak with authority that there's no cheating involved.
Unless you were involved in the cheating.
Why would I be involved in the cheating?
Why would I bring that up?
I know. Well, it's one of those things where if you bring it up, then obviously it can't be possible.
Right, yeah. Oh, man. Like
I said, I don't want to see Steve succeed.
Oh, the short film, that's you and me. That's us both. And that wasn't a lie. That was an ambition that we're still going to do.
Yeah, that's not a mistruth. That's just us kind of forgetting about it.
Well, I haven't forgotten. You forget about it. I haven't forgotten about it. I just haven't bothered to start working on it. However, this is all in advance of the June Money in the Bank Predictions Challenge. The winner will have. This is such a good looking case right here.
Hold on. Mr. Sinister has one more mistruth. When you put Cody's the lyrics to Cody's theme on your wall and claim that you memorized the song.
All right, you kind of caught me on that one, so I can't.
I did, because you didn't take them down the next time I was over at your house.
Yeah, because honestly, I did that on purpose to see if you would notice.
Yeah.
Anyways, Friendo in the Bank. Enough of this Steve slander. Enough of this Money in the Bank. The Friendo in the Bank attaché case. Look at this. This thing is a work of art, man. And it's good. Like, to the people watching, this looks like mustard, but it's actually a really bright green volt.
Yeah.
And it's really beautiful. And this is going to be on the line. Once the cash-in actually happens, I will physically send this to the winner. But until they cash in, it's going to be chock full of the numbers, which, I'll be pulling for the stuff.
Are you going to put any like wrappers from fast food or Little Debbie's or something in there?
I mean, hey, I'm not going to spoil that, but that's always a possibility. Might be some other stuff in here. So the June Predictions Challenge is for the briefcase. What's going on in June? We've got Money in the Bank, and what else do we have?
I think it's just Money in the Bank. I don't think there's any other paper. Oh, wait, Night of Champions is end of June.
Okay, all right. So we'll do that.
Okay,
we'll do that. So yeah, we got that going on for June. Of course, the way to enter the Predictions Challenge and see if you can be the one to dethrone Steve here, the new Tribal Chief, by going to patreon.com/Steve and Larson, clicking on the Friendo Club setup, or by clicking join right here at youtube.com/Steve and Larson. Let's get back to it, man.
Hold on. I just had a thought.
Yeah, what?
What if you repeat? No one's repeated before.
If I repeat, I'll just find a way. I'll just cash in if I'm close again, right? Yeah.
No, I mean, just the fact that you repeated.
Oh, yeah.
After taking so long for you to win, then you
don't bring that up. No, listen. I will guarantee this.
Steve,
this is my lone reign. This is my lone reign. This will never happen. That's why I'm going to juice as much as I can out of this, because it will never, ever happen again. I am not all of a sudden some sort of, prognosticator supreme. I am no Nostradamus. No way Stradamus is me. Ain't gonna happen.
No
again.
Steve Damus.
You got that right, buddy.
No, I'm happy for you, Steve, and I think you're going to do it again. This is from the heart. I couldn't be happier for you.
I actually kind of believe that you're happy about it because it does give us content, and that just means
I'm happy because
more money.
You wanted something that you wanted to achieve, and you achieved it.
I didn't even want to achieve it. I really didn't.
I think you did.
I don't get my hopes up for stuff that I know I can't have. Anyways, can we go back talking about Raw,
I think it's
please?
something you wanted to do.
Can we please go back talking about Raw now?
Why?
Because it's kind of what we're here to do.
Oh, we can't just talk about. You're trying to make this huge deal about your coronation. I'm trying to have a larger conversation about it.
Let's talk about Money in the Bank, Larson.
All right, fine.
Seth and Penta qualified for Money in the Bank, but not before Penta dropped Chad Gable right on his face.
It was a rough night for Chad Gable. It was that.
It was.
He got busted open from a kick. And then that power bomb that Dragon Lee gave him where he landed right on the top or the bottom of his neck and the top of his shoulders. It was a rough night for Chad Gable.
It was. Dude,
I don't know why Chad, he was looking like this when Penta was doing that spot.
Yeah, I don't know what that spot was supposed to be.
Well, Penta's done that before. It's the package pile driver type deal where he does the gory bomb with the person on his back. He's done that before.
Do you think it was like Styles Clash muscle memory being in that
Maybe.
position?
Maybe.
Because like I obviously he's supposed to tuck his chin and take it on the top of the shoulders.
On the shoulders, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that was a rough one. That was a really rough.
That was
one.
scary. Yeah.
That was super scary. But he seemed okay afterwards. But yeah, he was beat to hell by the end of Raw last night.
Yeah, he was.
Chad Gable's kind of a low-key MVP this year. Like, number one, he's in better shape now than he's ever been. He looks phenomenal.
He does.
And did you get the WWE spoiled the fact that they're taking that title off Alberto ASAP?
Not
because
surprising.
now the Worlds Collide match is going to be for the mega title.
Yeah.
Between Vikingo and, or as they're calling him now, Vikingo and Chad Gable.
Yeah.
So yeah, but yeah, Seth opens up Raw with a promo. It's kind of a long one. Heyman kicks things off. He talks about the Terminator, which was interesting. He says if Skynet sent a Terminator, he asks who's going to main event the next 8 WrestleManias. He'd say Braun Breaker, and I'm like, is Terminator programmed with popular culture in nature? With popular culture knowledge? I don't know.
Apparently,
never got that. He says, I'll put my reputation and Seth's on the line. That's not a prediction. That's a spoiler. He also mentioned that CM Punk isn't there. He said that's all thanks to Big Bronson Reed. He said WWE would never put him with top-tier talent because they were afraid of him, not just the front office, but the actual talent. He says, why? Because he's too reckless and a violent man in a PG era, putting down everybody in front of him. He said, what did he do? He went after the future of this industry. He targeted Seth. And one night he put a beating on Seth more than Roman ever did in a decade, more than Punk has ever done in a career one night. Seth fought Roman and CM Punk in a handicap match, and they couldn't do the damage Bronson Reed did to him. He said, so get down on your hands and knees and thanks to the heaven above for the altruism of this man to my right. His sacrifice he's willing to make for every single one of you, so the trajectory of the industry is bigger than ever before. So basically he's saying Seth sacrificed his own pride because this dude beat the shit out of him. Because he recognizes,
Because Seth was impressed.
Exactly. And he says in the end, he's the future of this entire industry. Ladies and gentlemen, acknowledge Seth Rollins. I saw a great take on Twitter in the few moments that I spent on it this morning. Somebody said, Seth's just putting together his own bloodline because he's always been jealous of Roman Reigns. And I like that. I thought that was pretty good.
Could be, because Heyman made a bloodline reference as well during his promo.
Yeah, he did. He referenced bloodline early, yeah.
So Seth takes the mic, says, make no mistake about it, Tampa, this is the vision. This is my vision. This is the way forward. This is how we secure the future of the industry. We do it through total control, total domination, complete power. I sold out the who. Are you out of your minds? I haven't changed a bit. I told you exactly what I was going to do at WrestleMania, and I did it. You're questioning my integrity right now. Need I remind you, less than 5 minutes is where everybody's chanting, fuck you, Seth. Less than 5 minutes ago, everyone was singing my song. Now you chant these profanities at me and question my integrity. You people, you morons, don't even know right from left what's good for you, but you're telling me I'm the bad guy here, that I don't deserve the power? I'm the only one who does. Who can lead this company into the future? The only one capable of wielding that power. That power comes through championships. I would be standing here, your world heavyweight champion, if it wasn't for Sami Zayn and CM. So the Punk chant starts. And he says, CM Punk found out Saturday exactly what happens when you underestimate me. Sami Zayn will figure that out tonight. Because, ladies and gentlemen, I found something more powerful than championships. I have an object that allows me to control the fate of those championships. So he looks up, sees the briefcase. He says, I'm going to qualify for my bank. I'm going to win the contract, and I'm going to cash in. But here's the beauty of it. I can do it whenever. I'll do it however I want. Cash in on whomever I want. And there's nobody who could stop me. This is complete domination. Total power.
Total power.
This is why I'm a visionary. I'm a revolutionary. Why I'm Seth freaking Rollins.
Total power. Yeah, that was a good one. Boy, a lot of people in chat have various instances of my deception here. Linda Taylor says, don't forget the can't pronounce Lyra.
Yeah, you did it, and you're like, yeah, this is a bit.
Lyra. People bring up the Depth Guy video, too. That's you and me. We got to both do that.
Yeah, I kind of feel like the window for that's passed.
Oh, wow. Just put cold water all over that one. We also had a really fun Penta versus Chad Gable versus Dragon Lee match. That Dragon Lee suicide dive was absolutely bonkers. That was like rivaling like Phoenix or Darby, man. Yeah. That dude came out on fire. That was crazy.
Yeah, it was like launched out of a cannon.
Mm-hmm.
As mentioned, tough night for Chad Gable, taking that crazy spot from Penta. That power bomb from Dragon Lee didn't look like it was much fun either.
Yeah, that was rough too.
And then getting kicked in the face and then getting busted open by, I guess, the Vikingo kick. So the finish sees Dragon Lee put Penta on his shoulders. He fights out, looking for a Penta driver, and then Gable comes up behind him and German suplexes both of them.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And this wasn't one of those things where like they both jumped. Like he held them up for a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It was like a stalling German suplex. Both of them. It's heck of impressive. So he hits a moonsault after that, gets a 2. So then Dragon Lee is just sent flying to the corner after a belly-to-belly from Gable. Gable goes back up top, but then Vikingo, who was in the crowd, kicks him, puts him in the tree of woe. Dragon Lee hits a double stomp on Gable. Penta hits Lee with a destroyer and then follows with a Penta driver on Gable to get the win.
Yeah. Chad Gable, boy, putting in that work, getting the most out of it. So Sammy, we have backstage, talks about Seth Rollins here. Says, I can't stand listening to them. They're out there running their mouths. I should have been out there myself. Jay shows up. He says, for what? For it to be 1-on-3? We got to pick and choose our battles. This is how you stop me. You go out and you win that qualifier, snatch that briefcase, and if anything gets messy, I got your back. You know this. Come on, man. They do the handshake thing and they hug it out. More Money in the Bank stuff. Rhea Ripley with a video. Says, Mommy's always on top. It wasn't a saying, it was a way of life. That hasn't been the case for a bit, though, has it? But at Money in the Bank, all that changes for the first time and I'm in a ladder match, which means no one's ready for the brutality I'll unleash. She says, I'll do anything to climb that ladder, grab the briefcase. EO Tiffany, hold on to those belts tightly. Nobody's safe from Mommy in the Bank. We've got Sammy walking around backstage. He bumps into Karrion Kross. Huge pop from the crowd when they see him on the Tron. He says, well, Sammy, look at you. Still trying to crawl your way to the top. You should have taken the deal and moved to SmackDown, but no, you had to do it your way. Sammy just sort of starts to leave. He's like, Kross says, hey, Sammy, you know you're never going to win the world title, right? Sammy comes back and says, I'll deal with you later, Jack.
Because Sammy's got a match tonight already. He's in the main event. Triple threat qualifier for Money in the Bank. Seth Rollins, as mentioned, wins this. Of course, there's interference from Braun and Bronson, injury specialists. So Sammy and Seth are trading hands. Seth sticks his fingers in Sammy's eyes, slaps Sammy around, but runs right into Exploder. Sammy's looking for a haluva kick, but Finn intercepts with a sling blade and drop kicks both of them. Looks for a coup de grace on Rollins. Misses. Sammy hits him with the haluva kick. Sammy covers, but then Braun and Bronson pull him out of the ring. Jay attacks them, super kicks them both. But Braun Breaker hits him with a spear, and then Sammy's sent to the post by Bronson Reed. Dom appears and slides a chair into the ring, like right in between Finn and Seth.
Yeah.
So Finn's kind of like crawling to pick it up, but as he's going towards the chair, Seth hits him with a stomp onto the chair to get the win. Afterwards, Punk's music hits. Seth's like, all right, Braun and Bronson, go intercept them on the ramp, because Seth always has tunnel vision when someone else is theme.
Always, every single time.
So Punk attacks him from behind, hits him with a GTS. Braun and Bronson rush back into the ring, but Punk escapes through the crowd, and they're just talking a bunch of trash back and forth as the show goes off the air.
Yep. Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see if Punk ain't got nothing else going on. Well, unless they do like, I don't know, Punk versus Braun Breaker, Punk versus Bronson Reed at Money in the Bank.
They could, but I feel like it's going to be a situation where Punk's probably in the ladder match. He's reaching for the briefcase. Braun and Bronson cost him the thing, and so he's going to have the match against Bronson Reed, beat Bronson Reed, and then, I don't know, try to mess with Seth when he tries to cash in. Probably get foiled there. It's probably going to be Seth versus Punk for the title at Mania, and Punk will win it.
There you go. You booked it out. Done. Let's call it a day. So we got Jey Uso versus Gunther. Wait, next week?
June
Is that
9th.
next week?
No, it's 2 weeks from. Wait.
2 weeks. Isn't it 2 weeks?
2 weeks.
Yeah,
Yeah, because next week, not this upcoming weekend, the weekend following.
Yes,
7th
correct.
is Money in the Bank. So
Yeah.
2 weeks away.
Yeah. So anyways, Jey Uso does the eat thing. Jey was he gets lost in his promo sometime, doesn't he?
Yeah, he got lost last night, yeah.
He really got lost. He said, everybody's after the champ. Logan Paul got yeeted on. Cena's about to get yeeted on too. And Money in the Bank, it's me and my dog. So that brings out Gunther. Talks a bunch. He says, first of all, I came out here because congratulations, I do. This comes from a personal place. Congratulations on the 15-year jubilee of the Usos in WWE. Secondly, congratulations on your first successful defense against Logan Paul on Saturday. You're holding on to this title way longer than I expected. I can appreciate you doing everything to fulfill your position. You want to captain this ship here. You have your hands full. There's a long-term plan floating around. Your friends are in trouble when they need you. You're right there. No questions. They are great qualities for a human being, but not for a great champion. He says, I don't blame you. You don't know better. Unlike me, this position doesn't come naturally to you. Being a great champion isn't being there for other people. Guess how I was able to be champion for almost a year? I only care about myself. He says, I don't think you have the intellect to understand how to carry yourself as champion. When we step into the ring one more time, I'll relieve your position. I will choke you out and take that title back where it belongs, around my waist. Jey tries to instantly remember what he's supposed to say. He's like, you done? Are you done? I'm done. I'm done with it. Everybody's saying my days as champ are numbered.
And that's what he paces back and forth a lot.
He just starts pacing endlessly. I'm done with everybody using an excuse with this title to turn my back on people who brought him up. I do have friends and family. I fight for them, but they fight for me. Run your mouth on my life. You want to judge me? Go ahead. What you're fighting for is less than what I'm fighting for, Oos. Eventually, he just stumbles into his fucking catchphrase. 4 letters, 1 word, yeet. He bolts out of there. Yeah, man. Yeah. I mean, hey, you know what? He covers it better than others cover it.
Yeah.
Because Jey naturally is kind of an unpolished guy. And so it kind of like, it doesn't not work. It's just when the pauses are too long.
Yeah.
That's when it's like, oh man,
spotlight on.
Let's find it. We got to find it, man.
Yeah. So we're getting Lyra and Becky again at Money in the Bank, which is great because their match at Backlash was awesome.
Yeah, that match was great. This promo was not, though.
It was kind of long.
It was, when it's funny when the good Lyra stuff, I think, has been Lyra responding to Becky as opposed to Becky responding to Lyra. And I think there's a difference there because, man, look, I don't care what the promotion is. AEW, WWE, NXT, Noah, New Japan. You go out there and you start recapping shit, it's dead on arrival.
Yeah.
It's dead on arrival. Becky said she was going to do this. Becky said she was going to do that.
Yeah.
And it's just, I don't care who it is. You could be CM Punk. You could be Paul Heyman. You could be anybody. When you start recapping shit, I start to check out, man, because it's like, I know, we've been there. We know what happened. So she comes out, talks about what's gone on. Becky comes out because Lyra claims that Becky made it personal by getting into her weird fiance's face. And Becky comes out and says, I made this personal. You cost me. I was done with you because I was on to bigger and better things. I won the night. I went home with my hot husband while you went to the hospital with your weird fiance. And Lyra says, your hot husband, the only thing talented about you? And Becky says, here you go, making it personal again. Long story short, she says, let's do this again, a rematch. But if I lose, I don't get to challenge that title while you have it. So that's going to go down at Money in the Bank.
Well, then Becky also said, when I win, you have to raise my hand, look me in the eye and raise my hand, because that's what I did
at NXT.
At NXT when you beat me for the NXT title. And then kind of the punctuating line, Lyra says, I've never had a problem raising the hand of a woman better than me, but that just hasn't been you yet.
I like this. I like this version of Becky Lynch, though. I feel like she kind of knows where she's coming from. We have more of a rift in the Judgment Day, thanks to Finn Balor, who, he might have eaten that stomp on the chair yesterday, but at least he's having fun in the Judgment Day, trying to tear it apart from the inside.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing to kind of relish, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. It is. He's having a good time. So Judgment Day, we see backstage, they're chatting. Dom and Carlito are playing 2K. Roxanne walks in with a big tray of nuggets, and she's like, here, Dom, you want some nuggets? Also, your shoulder looks bad. And so she starts rubbing his shoulder awkwardly. And then Liv walks in. She says, konnichiwa, bitches. And then the camera pans over to Liv. And she's like, hey, what's going on? You're back. And she's like, what's up? And Dom tries to explain himself, but Liv cuts him off. She's like, don't worry about it. Raquel's been keeping me in the loop while I've been gone. Some things I find to be very interesting, and I'll address that after I get a qualifying match. Let's go. So her and Raquel leave. Finn is eating it up.
Oh, he's laughing.
Dom says, isn't it great to have Liv back? Finn says, it sure is. And then Carlito's like, hey, man, you got to stop eating those nuggets. And then later on, Raquel and Liv are walking backstage. They stumble across Io and Kyrie. And she's like, what is this, a damage control reunion? Your group is dead, like Kyrie's chance to win a Money in the Bank. Io's like, keep walking. And Liv talks some more shit. That leads to a match between Liv Morgan and Kyrie Sane that Roxanne Perez tried to assist Liv Morgan with. Yeah. At one point, ref is distracted. Liv is down. Kyrie's going up for an insane elbow. Roxanne shows up. She pushes her off the top. Raquel comes over, starts giving her shit for helping out. That distracts Liv, which allows Kyrie to not only block an Oblivion attempt, but to get a roll-up win over Liv Morgan.
Yep.
So, and then afterwards, Liv puts the blame on Raquel. She says, they're backstage. She's like, you're the veteran. You should know better. She walks off, and Finn is just happy as can be.
He's loving it. He's loving it. Absolutely loving it. So there was a triple threat tag match for the tag titles last night, preceded by an interview segment with Tom Segura and Bert Kreischer. They're talking about Cody, because Cody's on their podcast. And then Bert runs off, and you hear him scream. And they see the War Raiders. And by this point, Bert has his shirt off. And Bert's like, they look just like us. And he's firing up the War Raiders, screaming, war. So then Tom calms down. It's like, I'm going to go enjoy the show. Match happens. And Bert's in the crowd, takes his shirt off. The tag match was a lot of fun. Triple threat matches are always fun.
This was a ton of fun. The New Day get the win. They're trying to talk up and compliment American Made just so they can, team up against the War Raiders. But of course, Julius, Ivar was going up for like a top rope move. And Julius comes out of nowhere with this huge flying knee on Ivar. And then Xavier Woods, after Kofi had been taken out by Ivar ringside, Xavier Woods rolls up with a big old hand of tights, Julius, to get the win for the New Day. So now American Made, oh boy, not going to be happy about that. I tell you what, so New Day kind of might have inadvertently just put, 2 targets on their backs.
Yeah.
Or 4 altogether, perhaps.
Yes, that would be 4.
4, yes.
Then finally here, Rusev had his match against Tozawa, predictably wrecked him.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Machka kick, game over, accolade. And then afterward, like in AEW, he'd really wrench back on the accolade, game over. It was called in AEW.
Mm-hmm.
So he's doing that to Tozawa. Sheamus runs out, stands up to Rusev as Rusev releases the hold. And Sheamus says, pick on me. So Rusev walks off and Sheamus stares him down. So we're getting that match.
I feel like we should get a series between these two because I think they're going to be really good matches.
I know.
I think they're going to be tons of fun.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, I think that's cool, man. Just whenever they do a Sheamus thing where it's just big dudes doing their thing, can't go wrong with that.
Nope.
Anyway,
You want to answer some questions?
let's answer some questions.
All right, let's start here with Black Sail 77. Will Braun and Bronson win the tag titles in the future?
Braun and Bronson win.
That'd be a heck of a tag team.
Yeah, I mean, if they get them involved in the tag division, I think that'd probably be a good thing. Whether or not they can manage that while you also have to worry about like them getting those tag titles just so they can be part of the Seth Bloodline story or the Seth Dangerous Alliance story as opposed to being in the tag division. Because we've seen them do that with the tag titles before. Right now, the New Day, they're involved with the tag division such as it is. If Braun and Bronson get their hands on those tag titles, are they going to be involved in the tag division? You know?
Yeah. Or are they going to tell different stories with Seth just using the tag titles to do it? Yeah.
Right, yeah. This is a cool one. Turbo McRadface says, through shenanigans, you both obtain a quantum cell phone that can make phone calls through space-time. It will give you both one 30-second phone call to any pro wrestler in history. That's a very specific call or phone.
Yeah.
It's like a space-time phone, but like I can't call, I don't know, somebody more important than a pro wrestler.
Yeah. Now, apparently there's only an upper limit of 30 seconds.
Any pro wrestler in history, who do you call and what do you say? I call Magnum AD, and I say, look, dude, because I know him personally, tell me that I called myself from the future. I called you from the future and buy this various stock.
Oh, all right.
Something like that to enrich myself.
Okay. That's good.
Because, like, I know him. He'd
you can call him the future. Yeah, exactly.
Do this. And he gets the benefit of also being able to put in for that stock.
Yeah, he could. He can enrich himself as well.
And he could enrich himself. Or like Cal Jack,
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I know two wrestlers.
Yeah. Yeah, I got nothing better than that other than like, hey, Brett, Goldberg's going to kick you in the head during this match.
That's what you would say Brett's career, the last 10 years of his career.
Maybe, yeah.
Okay.
Or, hey, Brett, there's a screw job going down tonight in Montreal.
I mean, there's the obvious, like, I don't want to make this too serious, but like, save Owen.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, let's see here. Oh, wow.
Go ahead.
Ignacio has another film question. I like this one. He says, in your opinion, what film should never be remade or have another sequel? In my opinion, Back to the Future should never be remade. I think Zemeckis has that written down somewhere or something.
Yeah.
But then once he goes, they're going to do that.
Oh, yeah. They're going to revisit that universe in some capacity. I honestly feel like any movie that's held in any sort of esteem probably shouldn't be remade.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right.
Unless someone's got like a vastly different. Well, let me back up a little bit. Anything that's lauded as a classic, leave it alone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Don't remake it.
Sure.
Let's say you can't revisit the universe in some capacity. Don't do a remake.
Yeah, right.
The movies that are like good but not great, but with also a lot of potential to be updated, I think, yeah. Like there's this is the movie I always bring up when talking about good movies that could easily be remade. There's a Disney live action movie from the late 70s, early 80s called The Black Hole.
Yeah.
That is a good movie.
Yeah.
It is. But I don't think it's popular enough that people would be like, oh, why are you remaking this? Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of stuff there that could be revisited and enhanced upon, with the current day filmmaking. So I think that's that type of movie. I think, yeah, go ahead. Give it another shot. Revisit that universe. But remake Citizen Kane, get out of here with that. No.
Yeah. No. Charlie Black says, why do you think WWE has taken so long to name the Rollins Breaker Bronson faction?
They just don't have a good name in mind.
They don't have a good name yet.
Just don't have a good name.
Yeah.
Film Critic says, who should win the announced matches for Worlds Collide? So far, it's Gable and Vikingo, and then you got Legado versus Pagano, Psycho Clown, and El Hijo de Dr. Wagner. So, I mean, Legado's a mess, so they should probably lose that match.
So, my counter to that is, number one, I want to see that finish, but I don't know if they would execute a tag finish in a three-way match, in a six-man tag.
Yeah.
Number 2, I have no idea if Pagano, Psycho Clown, and El Hijo de Dr. Wagner are all on the same page either. They might be on wildly different pages too.
That's true.
So I feel like Legado needs a win to try to convince Berto to get on board. Another loss is just more failure.
Yeah.
So I feel like they're going to lose. But maybe, I don't know, maybe not. Like Vikingo's going to win. So maybe they need like a WWE win at some point, you know?
Well, there's going to be more than 2
Vakir's
matches
going to
on the
win.
card.
Vakir's going to have a match.
Oh, yeah.
Because some people from the women's division, I forget who, showed up at Battleground in the crowd.
Gotcha. Let's see. Josh M says, even with him putting on more than decent matches, do you think Jey Uso will be able to stop people saying he can't wrestle?
I don't know, man. I mean, it's just it's an IWC thing.
Yeah.
You know, like, I don't know. I don't think the dude cares. Levy says, last week Matt Hardy made a post saying he wanted the Hardys to be the Pearl Jam of wrestling.
They're already there.
Yeah, they're there. That's what they are.
Yeah.
If they're the Pearl Jam, who's the rest of the Big Four? Who's the Alice in Chains of pro wrestling?
Wow. Gosh.
Who's the Nirvana of wrestling?
Yeah, that one's tough.
Powerful, influential, short-lived.
I feel like CM Punk is probably the Soundgarden of wrestling.
Okay.
Good run. They took a break. Got back together. And as you said, their reunion album was good. I never listened to it.
There was one song, like the first song wasn't like great. It's just the song is literally called I've Been Away Too Long. But the rest of the album was like kind of Soundgarden-ish, you know?
Yeah.
It wasn't like, oh, this is mid dad rock, like, you know, somebody else. What's an act that had to make a major change but kept trucking? Because that's Alice in Chains.
Yeah.
These are hard questions. I'd rather ask this of the friendos and leave us comments.
So,
is there a faction?
Von Erich family. They brought out a fake Von Erich.
Okay. All right. No, that's good. That's good. That's good.
The Nirvana one, I don't know.
Is the Nirvana one? Well, that is tough.
I mean, well,
Yeah.
even like Magnum TA, who had a lot of promise and a great early career.
He never
cut short.
achieved like
He never won the world title, so.
the top. Boy.
Yeah, that was tough.
Yeah, I don't know.
Let's see.
I mean, if Punk hadn't come back, he could have been Nirvana. Let's see here. AJ says, does Roman return at Money in the Bank to cost
Probably
Seth
not.
the briefcase?
Probably not.
Nah, he's on the Mania SummerSlam schedule.
Yeah. Combat Ben says, with Rusev and Sheamus now feuding, if they decide to do the League of Nations again, who would be the other 2 members? All right.
You can have Wade be the manager.
Could.
And Vikingo. Because not only is the Mega Championship on the line at whatever next thing they're doing, but also his spot in the League of Nations.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Blake Whitehouse, who would be the most boring Money in the Bank winners possible for this year? I think Rhea's kind of a boring pick.
Yeah. Naomi's the pick they should go with. Naomi should win.
Naomi should win.
The men, I mean, Seth is kind of the most boring because we know how it's going to play out.
Well, he's the most boring in that he's the most obvious. There's a lot of different things they could do with the briefcase itself, though. If he just wins the world title on June 9th, then that's the most boring way to go.
Yeah. which I feel like is the route they're going to go. And that's why I say I feel like Seth, in a lot of regards, is kind of the most boring.
Yeah. Yeah, because everybody else is just sort of weird, except for Jacob. Jacob is the most exciting.
Yeah, Jacob would be the most exciting. Creedy Beef Tip says, what is your opinion on the theory that the real Cena is still trapped in the Firefly Funhouse and that at the end of that match was when he truly turned heel?
I love that idea.
That is interesting.
I think it's a good idea.
I think that is a good idea.
Yeah.
That is an interesting idea. Diehard Homer says, I want to ask this before I forget. If by some miracle Mercedes versus Tony is the main event of All In, does that change your thoughts that Hangman will win if it isn't last? Yeah, if Mox versus Hangman isn't the main event, then Mox is winning. Yeah.
If Mox versus... Wait, I'm sorry, what now?
So the question is, if Mercedes versus Tony is the main event of All In, does it change our thoughts about the likelihood of Hangman beating
Mox is 1,000% winning.
Yeah.
If that's the case, yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's all the questions I have over here.
Mr. Sinister says, why do crowds cheer the name of the promotion, like AEW, NXT, but they never cheer WWE? There's never WWE, WWE.
Yeah, I've thought that myself. Because WWE has always been the standard, and I don't think the standard is ever cheered.
I just
but
feel
even
like
back in the day, well, there was no WWF or WCW chants. Nobody ever chanted those promotions, but they did chant ECW because they were the counterculture.
Also, just WWE, WWE. It's a lot to kind of chant like that.
I don't think that matters, though. I don't think it's because it's
I think it does.
I think it's the standard. I think nobody's going to cheer Kleenex, Kleenex.
But people will chant for Puffs.
Yeah. Puffs, puffs, puffs. Yeah. Nobody's going to chant Xerox.
No.
We'll chant
other copy machine.
I don't even know what it is.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know what it is.
Does Epson make copy machines?
Epson, HP,
even that.
HP.
I don't think anybody's going to be chanting anything for companies that make printers.
You're probably right about that. But yeah, I feel like it's because they're the standard.
I think we're both right.
Very good. That's a great way to end the show, in agreement and solidarity.
Yes.
So, thanks everybody for tuning in. Appreciate it. Till next time. We'll see you guys around.
Goodbye.